I've seen these kind of boxes sent to reviewers before. A magnetic flap over here, and then ta-da! That's what we're greeted with. Hashtag HTC Desire is back. And we have the Desire 12 on this side, and then the Desire 12 on this side. And then in the middle, I get basically accessories. Now this is interesting because the Desire 12 and 12 Plus were announced back in March, and it's only now that I'm getting my hands on this. So it's a good couple of months. There was some talk about both of these devices, but it's now nice to see them in the flesh. In the middle, we get the power brick. Now this is really interesting. This is a USB to a micro USB sync charge cable. There is no USB-C. And then we get a hands-free kit with the 3.5mm headphone jack. That's because both of these devices still have the 3.5mm headphone jack. So if you're looking for that, then you might be glad to see them on these devices. So where do I start off? What do you think? The baby first. So when I pull this off, oh, okay, thank you HTC for making my life a little easier. We get some specs down below, and on first impressions, wow, this thing is incredibly light. I think it's about a 2730, like an odd kind of milliamp hour battery, so that might be the reason why it's slightly lighter in the hand. And then we have the specs over here. So that's a 5.5-inch screen, and for those of you wondering, this screen is not a notch screen. So if you're someone that's kind of just getting fed up of seeing the notch and all of the newer sort of Android devices, then that's something you don't have to worry about. That is a standard kind of screen. And I was going to say that actually there's quite a lot of bezel there, and then the back there you can see we've seen this kind of material already on HTC devices, but this is something that the Desire 12 is working with. It's what they call liquid surface, very nice, but this thing is going to be a fingerprint magnet. You'll notice at the back there we also have a single camera, and that is a 13 megapixel main camera. On the front there we have, I believe, a 5 megapixel front facing camera. This one records up to 1080p, and that one records up to 720p. Now on the other side over here, we get the Desire 12 Plus, and you'll notice immediately, unlike this one, you have a fingerprint scanner on the back, and then you have the dual camera setup. So let's lift this up, and what do we have over here? Well, we have the 6-inch screen again. There's no notch over here, so it's a kind of a bezel screen that we're familiar with. We have an 18:9 display on the front over here. Again, this is an IPS display. Now at the back over here, we have a 13 megapixel with a 2 megapixel dual camera. I believe it's an f2.2 aperture over there. So we'll test that out as well. It does have this kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a black blue kind of effect. It looks pretty cool. And then we have that fingerprint scanner on the back there as well. And as per with the 12, you've got a micro USB at the bottom, and then a 3.5mm headphone jack. Now this is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 450 processor, whereas on the HTC Desire 12 we have 3 GB of RAM, and then you have the MT6739 processor, I believe. Okay, so both of these are powered and set up. So right out of the box, we're running Android 7 on the Desire 12, and then on the Desire 12 Plus, we are running Android 8. And it's, you know, as you would expect now with HTC, with Google's acquisition of HTC, everything is quite smooth. You've got quite a clean, crisp UI, which I'm a big fan of. I think HTC have actually been doing that for a while now, but that's nice to see here that everything is just clean and crisp. The Desire 12 and the Desire 12 Plus are aiming for a different market. They're much more sort of budget to mid-tier aimed, particularly with the Desire 12. The Desire 12 Plus has obviously slightly higher specs than the Desire 12, so that's aiming for a more mid-range sort of market. But on first impressions, I like them in the hand. It's funny, I thought that the Desire 12 Plus was a little too big, because that 6-inch screen you would assume would be a little too big in the hand, but it's actually quite comfortable. I've always been a fan of slightly larger phones, not the phablet type phones, but this on the hand or in the hand feels actually really nice. Bring up the camera and just have a look at the differences in terms of settings. That's the kind of camera effect on the Desire 12 Plus. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate video where I actually test out the cameras on both of these devices. And I know a lot of people, when they're going to be comparing the two, will want to see the comparisons between the two Desires, so we'll do that in a separate video as well. If that's something that you'd like to see, then as always, smash that like button down below and leave a comment as well. There, I did notice when I bought this up, while I was waiting for the Desire 12 Plus to just load up, the camera noticeable differences on the 12 and the 12 Plus are actually quite evident. This, I don't know if you can notice, is slightly slow when it's kind of panning between different items, whereas the 12 Plus is a bit more faster in that. You can see that it just is a bit more clearer and faster with that pan. But anyway, we're going to do that in a separate video. This was just an unboxing and really first impression. Until next time, you're watching me here on MQuan Reviews. I'll see you. Peace and blessings.